Can you all see my screen, presentation screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for your reply and mute yourself. Whenever if you get any queries that time you can unmute yourself and then you can pass the queries. Okay, thanks for your replies. Okay, we'll start with the session. Adarsh Kapoor, do you want to ask something? You asked your raise. You raised your hands. I hope it's by mistake. Okay, we'll proceed further. Again, I welcome you all to the value-added course on ethical hacking organized by Department of Computer Engineering of RISV College of Engineering. And in the previous session, which was conducted by our Chintan sir, and I think you might have got about the basic information about what is meant by ethics, what is the purpose of cyber security, and then you come across with the different terms like who are white hackers, and then black hackers, and then red hackers, red attackers, or again gray attackers, right? And what is meant by phishing and other things, right? Now, in today's session, right? We'll be discussing about the few other the elements which are related to the ethical hacking. And before that, so this is the disclaimer for from my side as well as from the institution. This tutorial is meant for education purpose only. Neither RISV College of Engineering nor instructor is responsible for implementation of any act learned from this tutorial. This course is made with the vision to jumpstart career in ethical hacking. I use my own devices during explanation of all these methods. Don't use these methods for any kind of illegal or malicious activities because hacking is a crime and you will be punished as per law. So now in this session, we'll be discussing about, or we'll be learning about how we can crack a password which you gave for the zip file to protect your files. Before that, I wanted to know what is meant by security. Can anyone write it in a chat box? Other than final year student, I think you might have got quite information because in the last semester you studied cryptography and system security as a subject, and I expect this from the second year and third year answers. If you could answer, then that will be better for me. What is mean by security? A general term. I'm asking about what is mean by protecting something and what is mean by security. Saving your data. Okay. Khan Faisal has written saving your data. Okay, good. Then any other responses? Okay. Safety from threats. Very good, Rahman. Okay. Then other answers. I hope this no interact. I mean, this session to be more interactive. Yes, not letting anyone know and then okay, I'm getting more responses. Protecting from malwares, privacy, protecting the data. Okay, okay. Stop responding. I understood that you have some basic idea about what is meant by security. When you talk about security, security is the process of protecting something. Based on that, what type of object you are going to protect, and then security again, there are different types of securities. When you talk about the physical security, if you want to protect some physical tangible objects, say for example, I wanted to protect my assets. Say for example, my gold, my jewels, my money. What I used to do, I used to keep in a locker or bureau, and then I will lock it, and then I will have the key with me. Right? Without my key, that the properties or the assets cannot be stored. Right? By the way, I am going to protect my all my tangible objects. Right? Maybe my refrigerator, TV, everything. I'll keep inside the home, and then I will lock it. By the way, so this comes under the physical security by protecting any tangible objects. The second thing is that again information security. When you talk about information, information is any type of data, whether it is your the email or message or animation video, or might be your pictures, whatever it may be, any type of media, whether it is a file or anything it could be, right? Whatever the information, whatever the data which has been created, whether it is a database protection, again any type of information, by protecting that information with the security measures, with the password or any other means of security, so that type of security can be called as the information security. The third security classification is the system security. When you talk about a system security, the devices which we are using for a communications might be this mobile phone or computer or laptop, other devices could be whatever the devices. which are used for communication or which are used to generate a information which is used for a communication. All these devices protection will comes under the system security by means of how the laptop can be protected again by entering the right username and password. With the help of the password, we can protect the laptop. Very similar to that, how you protect your mobile. Very similar to that, you can have the pattern lock or pin number through which the authorized person can open the device and then he can use it. The third category, the fourth category is that network security. When you talk about the network security, the devices which we are using for exchanging an information through the networks, that could be your Wi-Fi access router, right? Again, the Wi-Fi access point, that router which has been protected using the specific password. Apart from that, how we are protecting the data which is transmitted through the communication channel and other networking devices like switch, hub, and then firewall. So by protecting these networking devices, we are calling as a network security. So there are different types of security. After that, in this session, we are going to talk about how we can breach information security, right? You got some information about what is meant by security? We'll proceed. Now, I wanted to ask a question. What is meant by a password? So everyone, probably you will be having the Gmail account or you will be having your laptops, mobile phones, and what is meant by this password? What purpose we are using it? When we talk about a password, can anyone write it in the chat box so that I'll quickly move further? So what is meant by password? Okay. A code that is only known by the owner so that the device can recognize the owner. Okay. Sometimes, not exactly all the time, only one person know. When other, there are different types of keys. Again, private key and then public key password. Okay, for encryption, secure data, any specific information to unlock our data. Okay, thank you for all your responses. Right? When you talk about a password, password is a string of character for authentication. Main purpose is to do the authentication. When you talk about an authentication is the process, right, which enables to prove whether the person is an authenticated person to do something. Suppose if I'm entering the right PIN number, right, if the PIN number is right, said that password which authenticated me to use the mobile. After successful entering the PIN number, I'll be allowed to use the devices. After entering the right password, my laptop will allow me to make changes in the devices. Very similar to that. Basically, a string of characters which are used for authentication purpose. And apart from that, and you can do some other activities, right? And then you can log into your computers or you may log into your web applications, right? Well, might be your email account or Gmail account, whatever it may be, in case if you have any internet banking accounts, kind of things. Again, now to allow the softwares as well as the file network, mobile phones, etc. So when we talk about the password, again it's a string characters, right, which are used to authentication purpose, right? So again, so this password may comprises of the different combinations, right? Smaller A to Z and then capital A to Z and then 0 to 9 and the special symbols as well as the space may be included in the password. So basically the passwords are the key phrases which are used to authentication purpose. Now I'll quickly cover up what is encryption and decryption. When we talk about the encryption and decryption, so these are the basic element which comes under the security. Now what will happen, suppose if I'm sending a plain information through the network, there are chances that a man in the middle or attacker, they can easily fetch the data and they can compromise the security of the data, and they can easily interpret and they can identify or they can guess that what type of message I'm conveying to my opponent, right? To avoid that, what we are going to use is that, so we'll use an encryption process. When we talk about an encryption, encryption is the process of converting our normal text or plain text into the some other text which cannot be easily read by the third persons. So by form of converting our actual information to some other form of information, that is called an encryption process. In order to do the encryption, we may use a key or we may not use a key. Then we use again a key again, so which will be classified as the single key encryption and then double key encryption, triple key encryption. again. So without using the key again, we can shuffle the position of the plain text so that you will be getting a alternate keys and that will be transferred to the receiver. When you talk about encryption, right, from the sender side, I'll apply some mechanism. So that mechanism will convert my actual information to some other information. That some other type of information will be called as a ciphertext. Now that ciphertext information that will be transmitted through the communication channel. Right? Whenever if the receiving person receiving the ciphertext, right, and then priorly I'll intimate the receiver about the key. What are the key to be used and what is the key to be used for decryption? The receiving person and will receive the ciphertext and then you will use the same key and then you will decrypt it and then you will understand the message what I'm trying to convey. Right? Again, you will convert the data from ciphertext to the plain text. Right? So this process which we are calling as a decryption. Basically, in order to transfer a secure information, right, we need to use an encryption at the sender side, and at the end of the encryption, the receiver will, the data will be converted into ciphertext. The ciphertext will be transmitted to the receiver. Now, receiver will receiving the ciphertext, and then he will be doing the decryption process to get the original text back. So this is what the basic process of encryption and then decryption process. Next, we will discuss about hash function. So why I am explaining all this, the fundamentals, because when we do the practicals and we should know about what is this hash function, encryption, decryption, and then what is the brute force and other key elements. When you talk about hash function, this hash function is the practice of using an algorithm to map a data of any size to a fixed length. When you talk about hash function is any public function, right? So that what is the role of the public function is that a hash function is that so by receiving any length of input that is going to convert into standard size of output. Say for example, if I'm sending a message, so say for example, this is a lecture for a password cracking tutorial. So this information, if I pass this information to the hashing function, from the hashing function it will use any one of the method or any one of the formula, and from that it will reduce only the 10 characters of output. That 10 output or 10 bit of output, that is going to be called as a hash code. So this hash code can be called as a hash value or message digest. Someone is raised hand. Is there any issues? Do you have any doubt? Or you can write it in the chat box. Else, so again, so there are different types of hashing functions, right? So MD5, okay, thank you. MD5 algorithm is there, and then SHA1, and then MD4 algorithm, MD5 algorithm, and then SHA1, SHA256, SHA512. So there are different types of hashing functions, right? Which are, see, basically the hash functions are one-way functions from the given information, and you can produce a hash function. But it is very difficult to reproduce from the hash code to the original information, right? So this is what the hash function. The third element we are going to discuss about is how the hash function works, right? Here, very similar to that. So here, this is the plain text function or plain text information, and we are passing it to the hash function. Here, the hash function could be any one of the function. Depends upon the key and the output size. When we talk about that, MD5 algorithm, which produces 128-bit hash code. Again, when you talk about SHA512, SHA512 algorithm which produces 512-bit output. So depends upon the hash code size. Again, your security will vary. If the hash code size is big, again your security will increase automatically. If the plain text is passed to the hash function and it is a public function, will do some mathematical function, and finally it is going to produce a hash code. This from the plain text to the hash code there is no relationship, right? And so here this will be completely different, right? Suppose if this hash code will be added to the plain text, right? That combined information will be transmitted to the receiver. In order to receiver to verify that whether the message, whether it has been encrypted or decrypted or whether it has been attacked in the middle, how will ensure is that again with the help of the by receiving this combined information, and you will segregate the plain text and then hash code. Now from the received plain text, and then you will regenerate the hash code by applying the same SHA2, and then you will get the hash code. Whatever the hash code he calculated, that hash code will be compared with the received hash code. If both the hash codes are matches, then the receiver will assume that there is no data alteration during the data transmission. So this is how the hashing process works. Next, we will talk about the salt function. When you talk about very similar to the salting function, or I mean very similar to the hash function, the salt is a keyword which is used, right, in order to secure our password. Now, how the salting value will be used means that again, so salting is a concept that typically pertains to a password hashing. It's a unique value that can be added to the end of the password to create a different hash value. When you talk about salt value, so these are, I mean, these are the constant elements, right? So that could be added at the end of our password. Say for example, if I'm signing up into the Gmail account, I'm entering the password. Say for example, test123. What is the salt value means? The salt value is an additional element. That could be the timestamp at what time I'm creating the password. That could be the timestamp, or could be some other element might be provided by the organization, might be from the Google. So that value will be added with my password temp123 plus this, maybe this the salt value. Let's assume that FA2 is the salt value. That FA2 salt value that will be added with my password temp123 and FA2. So there are different mechanisms whether the salt value may be added at the end or might be added in between the characters of the password. Say for example, temp123 in between every after 3 characters the salt value will be added. TEMP and followed by the salt value FA2 and then 123 followed by FA2. So these are the different mechanisms, right, which will be used. I mean, the salt value will be added with the password so that it will increase the security of your password, so that the attacker, even if you get the password, and so you cannot be able to crack it. Now this is again a simple the architecture how the salt value and the other process works. As I explained, whatever the password which I am entering to sign up, I mean during the sign up process, along with that, sorry, along with that, the additional element which was added, that we assume at the salt value, whether the salt value could be a timestamp or whether it may be a constant value, right, which will be added with the passcode. Now here I got that the password plus the salt value SL40, and then the combined password plus salt value which will be applied to the hash function, and it produces the hash code. Now the hash code which is going to be stored in the directory, the database, right? Whenever you talk about any organization, the password will not be directly stored as a plain text. Password always will be stored in the form of hash value or encrypted forms, right? Again, so here along with that, the passcode value, the salt value will be added. Whenever if I am entering this password again, which will comes here along with the password, and the salt value will be added, and then the reverse process will be carried out. Again, the hash function will be calculated, hash code will be generated. Now those two values will be compared. If it is correct, I will be identified as an authenticated users. Sir, can hash function can be cracked? Yes, it is possible, but it depends upon the password which we uses. Later part during the practical, I'll explain that also. Please have the patience. And as Imam, I'll answer to you your questions. In case if the session ends quickly, I mean after 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you can join into the session. We'll start with the practicals. I'll quickly cover up with the what is maybe this cracking, so that a few of the students are from the second year, third year, and you may not be having. Sir, please go slowly. Okay, I understood that because the second year student might have not the basic ideas about what is encryption, decryption, and when we are working with the practicals, and then you will get more ideas, so that we are running out of time. And when we talk about password cracking, again, it's a method or a technique, right, in which we try to identify the password with the help of any mathematical or with the help of any software cracking tools, right? It's a term used to describe the penetration of network, a system, or resources with or without the use of tools to unlock a resource that has been secured with the password. If any file or any information which has been protected with the password, legally or illegally, the person is trying to break the password, and he could be called as a attacker or hacker, right? So that is the process of cracking the password. Now, what we people normally we used to keep as a password. The few cases, right, I could say that the password should not be short in length, and apart from that, what people we used to that we used to have the password, right, which is a birthday, whether the same the person birthday or might be their loved one's birthday, or the phone numbers, or the real name or company name, maybe the favorite footballer or favorite player or favorite singer or favorite dancer, right? Might be their pet names, whatever it could be, right? So what we people used to keep for easy, remembering the things, and we used to keep our loved ones or though whatever the incident which are close to me, right? And we used to keep that as the password. Now these passwords are they are prone to easily compromised. Don't use these complete words or codes, right? Example, hello 123, so which is weak again. So when we talk about the strong password, always which is the combination of, as I mentioned earlier, the small letters, capital letters, and then the numbers and the special characters. So that will be little difficult to crack. I can't say that it is cracked, right? It cannot be cracked, but it takes a time to crack it, right? Other than that, right, and there are a few more instructions for you, and don't use your own password, right? Whenever, say, what we used to that, we will keep on repeating the password. Say, for example, if any security system which asks us to, change the password, what we'll have 2 3 password, and then we will be repeating it the same password, right? Try to avoid that kind of things. And apart from that, one important thing is that don't use working or private email for every website registration, such as games, news, etc. So what we used to do is that, suppose if you have the Gmail account, and then if I'll be having the login as well as the password, what we people used to that, whenever if any website they are asking for me to sign in, and knowingly or unknowingly or without intentionally, what we do, we'll give the same Gmail ID and then we will use the same password. Now, but we are not sure that whether that organization, whether we are not securing our the password which has been protected, and there are chances that if the passwords are not encrypted, they may use your password might be in the backend. So whenever you are signing into any website or any other organization, you can use the same Gmail ID, but don't use the actual password which you are using for your Gmail accounts for login. Right? This is another idea, another concept. Might be the another tips we can secure your passwords. Other than that, when we talk about the password cracking, what the people are, how the hackers are the expert, they are trying to crack the password. The first thing is that guessing. When you talk about the guessing, again, the people who are close to me are close to you, and they will try to guess the password, right? Again, through the unauthorized access, right? Illegally. So if I get a file, if I suppose if you have visited a particular page in the previous session based on your history, if I got that history again, I'll try to add that pages, and then I'll try to identify the password, right? Again, to recover a forget password again. So again, through that, this is again, if I forget a password again, there are different mechanisms through which I may send a forget request, and then I'll be getting a link. And so if whatever the password which I enters again, so that may be hacked. And then again a penetration testing step again. So this will be used for identifying the password which are used in Wi-Fi router and other elements. So basically, password cracking concept, they use a different techniques, might be the guessing technique or brute forcing attack. Brute forcing attack or birthday attack. There are different techniques, and we will discuss one by one. Right? Again, so this password cracking is an illegal purpose to gain unauthorized access, as well as to retrieve the password for authorized access purpose. Maybe suppose if the genuine purpose is misplacing or really miss the password, in that cases you can use, genuinely you can use for a forget password option. Other than that, the password cracking, which is completely depends on the strength of the password, again the different computing resources we use, and then the attacker's knowledge, which is completely rely on the skills on the attacker, and then attacker's mode of access, whether he is accessing physically or whether there are different types of attack. One is offline attack, again the another one is online attack, right? Again, the strength of the password, how often you change your password, and then how close are the old and the new passwords, how long your password. So these are the few elements, right, which your password cracking, which completely depends on these parameters. As I mentioned earlier, if the password is little complicated, it takes a time to the attacker to crack the password. Now again, when you talk about the brute force attack, right, when we talk about, again, the attacker does not have any knowledge about what type of password you used, right? And he will keep on randomly, you will trying all the combinations of letters and characters finally you try to find out the password. So again, so this is again one of the method which we use as for the brute force attack. The attacker, and he'll be with the help of the any software or any tool, right? And you'll be having any file which is protected with the password. Now, with the help of the word list, the automated system will have the complete word list, whether that could be a dictionary or might be the word list which is created by you, right? Now, whatever the word which is there in the word list, right, that will be completely compared with the password which we used in the file, right? And then if the password matches, right, again you will be getting the password, right? So it is completely based on a dictionary mode attack, I could say that. The other one is the birthday attack. When you talk about the birthday attack, means the attacker, he might be having a few basic knowledge what could be the password. Say for example, if suppose if the person wanted to suppose if the person knows that there are only 4 characters in the password, and he may guess that whether that password could be a ATM pin number. Always the ATM pin number only in the digits, and he will try all the combinations of 0000 and then 9999. Right? Probably, and if the person is close to you or if he knows some basic information about you, and he may try with the different combinations, might be your mobile number digits and then your birth date and then some other the anniversary date, right? And you will try to do the brute forcing attack, and based on the certain clues as well as other information, and you will try to track the password. So this is how the different basic information which are related to the password. So again, in the offline mode, which uses a dictionary method, where I mentioned earlier, right? Build a dictionary of the password, and which is going to keep on comparing with that, and then it is going to identify the password which will be the right password. And if you have any queries, you can write it in the chat box. I'll try to cover it. And Anna asked, sir, can hash function be cracked? Yes, possibilities are there. It completely depends on the tool which we are using. Can you please go to the previous slide for a minute? Ashish Panda, what type of slide it is? Can you just tell me which topic so that I'll move it forwardly? I'll forward. I will post this slide. You will get all these resources in your Moodle account. There is no need to worry about these things. How to have a universal password? Again, when we talk about it's universal password or unique password. What if it says too many attempts and system blocks you from entering the password, right? So every security mechanisms as per the company or organization norms, and it will be no, if the authorized user, they will be allowed to enter for the restricted times. As this is the correct one, is the page which you are looking. It will be no. There are restriction with the number of attempts, very similar to the ATM password. If the person is even if I'm an authorized person, if I'm entering more than 3 times the wrong password, automatically